Welcome, welcome to another episode of The Cooking Swiss. And today we are going to make omelette. Omelette is a mix between a regular pancake and like a French crepe. So let's just not waste too much time. We get started right away. The reason actually why I realized I bought too much cold cuts, and because this week is Thanksgiving week, and I don't want to let it go to waste, and so let's make that for dinner. So first up, I have a little kitchen scale that I'm using. Oh, I have to convert it to grams. I bought that at Lidl. You can get it at Walmart. They all have it. So put that on here, we tore it out, reset it to 0. And so we need 200 grams of flour. Don't worry, I will convert it into cups and I'll post it. But for now, this is what I use. I usually use a lot of white flour. I like to use the all-purpose flour, unbleached by King Arthur, and I also like to use a little bit of whole wheat. So we kind of throw it in. A little bit too much, too tender, but I can't pull it out. That's fine. We just work with it. So that's the first. Kind of mix it. And I think now we're actually already done with the measuring. So we can remove this. Up next, we're gonna use half a teaspoon of salt. Again, we're mixing this up. And next, we need milk water. Now, what is milk water? And we need 4 deciliters. So I'm moving this a little bit on the side. And first, I'm going to fill it up with tap water. And I do exactly half and half. So I'm doing 2 deciliters of water, and we're also doing 2 deciliters. Again, don't worry, I'm gonna convert it. And where's the liter? The liter measurement is here, so we're gonna have to go up to the 4. Alrighty, so that's for that. And next, we need about again, I'm using canola oil, but you can also use olive oil or whatever you like to use, just a little bit, I guess like a tablespoon or teaspoon. And now we're switching this around again. Let's see if hopefully in the picture. And we are going to pour about half of the 2 deciliters in. Is that now a little more? All right. And we are starting to stir and making it somewhat liquidy. Now this is a recipe that it's very popular in Switzerland. Remember, the main meal in Switzerland is lunch. So people have that winter and summertime for lunch. The great thing is if you can eat it either warm or cold. So it's great for leftovers, and You could also, if you have leftovers, you can cut it up and you can technically turn it into like a appetizer. I've done that at parties here before. Great success in the US. I cut it up in smaller pieces and made an appetizer. So now it's time for the eggs. We're going to need a total of 2 eggs. And we're supposed to, you know, whip them up separately and stuff, but I'm just throwing it in here. Cracking it in here. And then I'm just mixing it up like that. Kind of mixing it in. Yeah, I guess I should have used the other whisk. I guess this is kind of, but it will all work out in the end, you will see. It always works out somehow, one way or the other. All right, I think we're ready for the second egg. Now this is also a recipe. We're not using any kind of yeast or baking soda. Once the dough is ready, we will let it sit a little bit for about half an hour. We'll let it rest. And that will give the flour time to kind of raise on its own, but it's not going to raise a whole lot. So that's why it's an in-between. This is where it's very typical. You kind of want to beat it. To mix it in. Yeah, you kind of want to beat it like that. It's the same technique, by the way, if you want to make German Spätzles, or I'm going to possibly show you after Thanksgiving a recipe that I use with turkey leftovers. And it's a Swiss recipe. It's about little buttons. We call them little buttons, or knöpfli. But right now we're making omelette, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, so see how now it's definitely nicely mixed in. And again, we are giving just like a little thing. Mixing it in completely. And then it is going to be quite liquidy. And as I said, we're just going to cover it up and then we're going to let it sit for at least half an hour. It can be at room temperature. It does not have to be cooled. So basically we made a batter, not a dough. Alrighty, that's what I want. Now, let's make sure we got everything here. Now you spice it a little bit with, I need to stop saying pepper. If you have, you can use fresh herbs. I am using, again, my go-to frozen herbs. You can use chives, parsley. If you have a garden, go ahead, use the fresh ones from the garden. I'd say pretty much any kind of spice will fit, except I don't know if cilantro would be a good choice. And also I always try, sometimes I use rosemary and also sage. So that's why, it's a good choice to put Italian seasoning in. Just to give it a little bit of flavor. Now this, again, some people will just eat this sweet. Obviously not with the Italian seasoning and the pepper. But we are going the salty, non-sweet route today. I'd say it's probably most common, this recipe, towards northeastern Switzerland. That's where my mother is from. But I think most families will do this occasionally. It's one of these dishes, you know, that you can't get in any restaurant, but you love it. I don't think I've ever seen a restaurant in Switzerland that I know of that offered this on their menu. Not once. But yet, it's like a really very... I love it. Even my kids like this dish as well. All right, so now I guess we're going to cover it up. We'll get a fresh towel. Let's get one that's big enough. I should have been prepared. All right, here we go. This is a nice little Christmassy look towel. We're covering this up. And now we are going to let it rest and sit for half an hour. So we are back. It's about half an hour later, probably a little bit more, but let's see how it looks like. And still hasn't really changed much. Sometimes when you let it sit for a little bit longer than half an hour, it's fine. It can be several hours. You could do it in the morning and let it sit stuff. But then I recommend putting it in the fridge. It might separate. You might have like a layer of water on top from the water. But that's totally fine. And then you just kind of, you stir it. And now the next step we are going to do, we're going over to the stove. And we are putting in a little bit of oil. Let's turn it on. And that step is going to be pretty much the same every time you make one omelette. So you put a little bit of, little bit, that's way too much, but oh well, we'll survive. All right, so this is our setup. You always kind of have to have everything in place because it's going to go very fast. And so this is the dough. And then here we have the filling, kind of a, ham and different cheeses. You can just make them plain ham or plain cheese or a mix of cheese and ham. You can also use bologna, pastrami, any kind of cold cuts you can really use for this. And actually, I was thinking earlier, maybe it's almost like a wrap. Oops, my fingers now came in, so sorry about that. Because I can't really do it. There's no space for the... All right, so we are taking about this much. I'm a little bit worried it might be a little bit too hot. All right, here we go. So we're taking about this much. And we're going in here. And now we're lifting it up. So, and we kind of go like this. We distribute it all around. Obviously, I put too much oil. So, but it's all right. The first one always is a messed up one. Always. Just get used to it. So we're sizzling around. It smells already really good. And at least it's going to be easy to flip because there's so much oil. And we wait and wait. I could move it a little bit more. Let's see if that speeds up the process. No. All right, we just wait. And I think it's starting to be good. So now we go. Well, professionals will like actually flip it in the air and flip it that way. But this is a cast iron skillet and it's just a little bit. There we go. So now this looks really nice in the color. You just have it a few more minutes. Not even minutes, a few more seconds on here. And I'm going to show one, maybe a second one, and then we'll, move on to the end result. Because it's just going to be rinse and repeat going on forward now. All right, we can check a little bit. Yep, looks good. So now I'm bringing it over here, and it's tearing apart. It's really kind of tough doing it with the, you know, holding the camera and looking through this and that. And, all right. So this is a total failure. Well, I'll turn it off real quick and I'll make the next one. All right, I'm back. Because we used a little bit too much oil the first time around, so now we get away with not putting any oil in this time. Which is going like this. And by the way, the temperature is kind of like a medium on like a 6-ish. And we are turning this around. So that's why it's not exactly a crepe, because it's not going to be that thin. So while this is cooking, I reorganized this, and it's still going to work. So we grab a ham, slice of ham, we place it. Actually grab 2 hams. Alrighty. And then we kind of use a slice of cheese. What I need is a videographer. Where's my son? Alright, so kind of like distribute it like this. And then we just go and we wrap it. And this is, again, a little bit tough to do with one hand. All right, there we go. Now we go back, and this one is ready to be flipped. So you just keep going back and forth, back and forth. It's a little bit dark, came out, but still it's doable. As long as it's not black. It's, you know, just brown is fine. And wait a little bit. It's not going to go very long. Yep. So now in order to hide that it kind of got dark, what we'll do, we'll just put that in the inside. Haha, we're being tricky. So now again, go, a little bit of oil. Maybe this time I managed to not pour half of the bottle in. It just needs a tiny little bit. Not good like that. I guess you could use a spray too. And again, one more time, and then I'll turn it off. And this should result in about, or yield, I guess the proper English word is, about 12. And usually I make the double portion, but it's, again, since tomorrow is Thanksgiving and we're expecting a lot of leftovers, there's really no sense of, I'm just going to make enough for dinner. And the way we usually eat it, now we go over here and we put the ham and the cheese in. All right, we are now at the very last one of our omelette. So I just need to flip that. Also, I wanted to mention that I bought about, you need about 1 pound of ham, and the way you want it to be cut is not too thin and not too thick. It's just kind of like in between. And let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 1 we already tasted. We already ate one. So, yeah. Let me just finish that last one up. Let me turn off the stove. There we go. Oh, this one has actually 2 slices. So, but we are out of cheese, so that's fine. So, extra ham, no cheese on this one. Again, we're wrapping it up. And there we go. That's it. Omelette. Typical dish from Switzerland. Again, I wish you un gute, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. And by the way, if you try any of my recipes, let me know if you like them. If you have any questions, please post questions in the comment section, and I try to answer. Again, have a nice evening, and thank you so much. Bye.